City. Reconvene the open session at 6:04. We conducted the superintendent's evaluation and it was satisfactory. No other action was taken in closed session. Pledge of allegiance.
The United States of America, the Republic for which it stands, one nation, God, liberty, and justice for all.
We'll have the recognition of ACES Awards.
All right. Tonight I have the honor to recognize 20 individuals from our district who are going to receive the ACES Awards, which is Achieving a Cultural of Exceptional Service. While we have many great employees, 20 of them are going to get to come up here and be recognized by you. Anyway, so it really shows the commitment to the schools, to the parents, to the students, and the community for what these people did. So there are 3 flights of people. So if I call your name off, I'm first going to read what they've done, and then when I call your name off, please come up, stand here for a moment, you'll get your certificate. The board will recognize you, and then you can sit down, and then we'll go to the next one. All right. First, I have Alicia Casey nominated these people, and this is what she wrote. This group worked collaboratively together to create a celebration for the families in our district to show how much they appreciated the families' participation and partnership. The importance of the sense of community being nurtured at sites through the family leadership trainings was felt in every planning meeting the family ambassadors had, and in each detail they decided for the event. It is evident in their daily work that they truly care for the families in our community, and the graduation celebration was just one outward expression of that sentiment. So, if I could have the following people come up. Edna Collum, she's the family ambassador at Superintendent. Lisa Edgerton, family ambassador at Mariposa. Maria Fuentes, family ambassador at Winter. Suzette Gonzalez, the family ambassador at Endeavor. Sochio Gonzalez, the family ambassador at Endeavor. Finlang Quintero, the family ambassador at Linda Verde. Claudia Rangel Casillas, the family ambassador at Fulton and Aldrich. Maria Reyes, the family ambassador at Paiute. Emily Rodriguez, the family ambassador at Westwind. And Diana Silver, the family ambassador at Jack Northrop. So thank you, ladies. All right, if anybody wants to take a picture before we move on. If you'd like to, if you'd like to face the board and just say hi. All right. And our next group, also recommended by Alicia Casey. Here's what she had to say about the ASB directors. Daily, these directors continue to work with ASB students to create a positive culture and climate at their schools. They empower the students to be leaders and to support a campus environment that is welcoming and provides a sense of community for all students. The ASB directors also make sure to build the leadership capacity of their students by providing a variety of opportunities for them, such as attending the ASB Leadership Assembly at the Imagination Campus. Recently, we just had our ASB Leadership Conference here at Parkview Educational Complex. The ASB directors spent time planning and preparing students to have educationally fun-filled days with building connections across other middle schools. The schools were prepared with team-building activities and let their school spirit shine from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Alicia also wants to recognize one more person. The ASB Leadership Conference could not have been possible without Bess Philomenia's organization and hard work with a smile. And help set up, clean up, and do whatever it took during the event to make sure things ran smoothly as they could. So that's what she said. I'm going to call the ASB directors up. Kaylin David, teacher at New Vista. This is our attendance. It's fine. Tamara Kanya, teacher at Fulton and Osborne. Leandra Morales, counselor at Linda Verde. Elizabeth Murphy, teacher at Amargosa Creek. Keith Wynn, teacher at Fulton and Osbury. Elizabeth Reddish, teacher at Endeavor. Rebecca Topper, teacher at Pite. So now it's picture time for you guys again. That picture. Go. All right, and so now you can face the board and they will give their way. Thank you. And lastly, this nomination is from Mr. Denning, and it shouldn't come as a shock. Mr. Denning would like to recognize Alicia Casey for all the recognitions she has sent up here. Just kidding. That's not true. For helping to lead the effort in reestablishing a AAAC at Nancy Corey Elementary School. She did an amazing job of connecting with parents here at Nancy Corey and building a foundation of parents to be leaders. We appreciate all of the hard work that she has done and continues to do in this area so that we may continue forward with a strong, purposeful, and effective AAAC. And that's the African American Advisory Council. So Alicia Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Now we'll carry on to information items. Ms. Rebecca Cookson, report, please.
Good evening, board. In UTK to 8th grade, we have 14,141 students. In ECE, we have 498 students, for a grand total of 14,639 students. This is a loss of 68 students from our last board report and a loss of 86 from the same time last year. Additionally, we have 1,003 homeless students and 432 foster students.
Do we have any other informational items? No? Presentation requests, proposals, and reports. Early Learning Self-Evaluation by Kelly Fountain, Director of Early Learning.
So much for the honor of being able to present and highlight the early learning department for the year. We've had an exciting year and we have done a lot of things this year we want to point out to you. Normally we just go over our data for the DRDP, but this year we're going to highlight some amazing things that we've done. I want to start by talking to you a little bit about getting the thing to flip slides. So this year in the early learning department, we worked on enrolling UTK students in the state preschool program. So I know the enrollment report always says that we have about 400 kids, but in UTK and CSPP combined, there are 620 kids enrolled in part-day preschool. So I'll explain a little bit about why that is in a little bit. We have in the part-day preschool program 373 kids, and kids that are also enrolled in UTK, there are 247 of them also enrolled in the state preschool program. We do that for an important reason, which I'll get to in a minute. And then we also have 68 kids enrolled in our full-day preschool program. One of the things that the state encouraged us to do in the implementation of the UTK system and bringing that into the school district is to create a bridge between the early learning and care system and the TK-12 system in the school district. The UPK system, the universal preschool, incorporates UTK as one of the delivery systems for 4-year-old preschool experience among a vast variety of providing opportunities like state preschool, family childcare, before and after school care, extended learning programs. So in that mixed delivery system, UTK is one piece of where 4-year-olds can go to get that universal preschool delivery. In our district, we sort of stepped way ahead of this expectations of the state. We started to implement that early learning program in combination with the CSPP program. The state requirements for UTK is a 1-to-12 ratio. That was supposed to go down to 1-to-10 this year, but because of funding, the governor pulled back on that. So in the UTK requirements, there are 2 staff members required in the room for 24 children. Because of the way we've delivered our program in the blending, braiding, and layering, which is what the state encouraged us to do, we joined the children in the UTK classroom and the state preschool program together. And because we were able to leverage the funding in blending them, we enrolled children in UTK also in CSPP, which lowered our ratio of 1-to-8. We felt that was important because the 4-year-olds that were in the UTK classroom this year were the 4-year-olds that were in the CSPP classroom last year in a 1-to-8 ratio. Lots of research out there that talks about why 1-to-8 is a more appropriate ratio for children. So in our district, we use the CSPP dollars we earned by enrolling the children in CSPP or in UTK to hire and pay for 2 additional staff members in the UTK classroom. So each classroom is staffed with 3 people full-time, and then there's a position that we created jointly with Expanded Learning that allows an adult to come in around 9 o'clock in the morning, provide breaks for the staff, and then they will stay with the children in UTK and go on with them into the Expanded Learning, provides continuity of care, and there's less transition of adults in and out of that space, which keeps the children regulated and excited and happy to be here. So because we were able to fund it that way, we had to do our enrollment system a little different. So this was the first year we started that process. It was a little bumpy at first. We figured out some of those kinks going into this current year's enrollment. So on the first screen here, you can see that we have 373 kids enrolled in the part day preschool program that are not enrolled in UTK, but there is 633 applicants that applied for state preschool, and 496 of them were 4-year-olds. 752 of them were TK kids. This is important because there are reasons why people apply for care but don't actually finish and go through the full process. And I'm going to talk about some of those things and why we came up with the solutions that we came up with this year. We track children when they enroll in the program. If they are a child that has an IEP, we are aware of that. If they're a child that has, if they're homeless or foster, that's tracked. So each classroom, we know who's in each classroom and what needs that they have. If the family identifies the child as a second language learner or a multilingual learner, we have that information as well, and that supports us when we were doing our observations or staffing with additional special education support or behavior para support if we need it. So the first slide talks about just the PK program. So those are the children in the part day preschool program not in UTK. The second slide is our full day enrollment. So there are 68 kids spread across 5 classrooms. We have a full enrollment capacity of 120. We did have some challenges around staffing this year, so we had to keep the numbers lower because we didn't have the staffing that we needed. This is the UTK enrollment. So you can see each class here is the UTK enrollment. It tells you how many kids are enrolled in each class, how many of them in the second column are enrolled in state preschool. So out of the 490, at the time I printed this, 490 were enrolled in UTK, only 247 of them completed that state preschool enrollment, which means the 247 that did enroll in state preschool earned us $1.7 million to help reduce the staffing ratios. But the kids, the 243 that never completed that UTK CSPP enrollment, lost us $1.7 million. So it's important that when we talk about the enrollment process and how we're doing it going forward, you will understand how we're enrolling children in both systems. So moving forward for next year, we worked really hard with our 2 systems to create an API. We're so close to having the API integration. We worked with Brandon from ITS, and John helped us a lot with ITS, and then the vendor from Hub to create an API that will help children once families enroll in the Hub system, that'll integrate the data that they provide for us right into the PowerSchool system. We're very close, but we are not there yet, but we're working on it. The other thing I want to talk about is how we supported children and families. We have a high need for families in the district to be able to have access to a medical provider. We live in a childcare desert, and provider to patient ratio is high here. We have 400 kids for every 1 provider, which means children are waiting a long time for physicals and for immunizations. So this year we created a job description for and hired a nurse practitioner. It's the first time our district has ever had a nurse practitioner. And we hired her because there's a state preschool requirement that children have to have a current physical and immunizations. Some of the children in our program have waited many months for immunizations. So there's some data here. There were 93 kids that needed updated physicals when the enrollment process started, and throughout the year, 5 of those children were excluded for 10 to 30 days waiting for a physical from a physician. 5 of those kids that were excluded for 2 to 5 days on an average loss of $116. 10 of those kids never became compliant. 33 did not enroll because they were never compliant. 33 children not enrolling in the district programs is a loss of $233,000. So providing the nurse practitioner will allow these children access to a nurse practitioner that can do a physical on the spot and provide the vaccine once our vaccine clinic opens, which we are very close to opening a vaccine clinic. We're super excited about that. In addition to the exclusions that happen in the early learning system, we also have 7th graders that don't have the TDAP on the first day of school. Currently, there's 501 7th graders that do not have a TDAP. Last year, 300 kids were excluded on the first day of school, which is an average loss per day of $23,000. So getting those children vaccinated for the first day of school in 7th grade will be a huge asset that the nurse practitioner will provide for us as well, which will support children to be in class on the first day of school, which we're going for 0 exclusions. Okay, so for staffing, In the state of California, there was a requirement that teachers that are teaching UTK needed to have 24 units in order to be fully qualified. We believe that children deserve to have fully qualified teachers in our district. So we pushed work, myself and Linda, we both teach adjunct at Antelope Valley College. We worked with the dean and chair of our department over there to create fast track courses for staff. So in the summer of 2022, we had staff members that were fully credentialed teachers in the district enter into these fast track courses, and within 1 year completed all 24 units, which means that our district met the mandate of having fully qualified teachers by August of 2023, even though that got pushed back to August of 26. So we are fully qualified in our TK classrooms. It's exciting. And then to support the classified employees, we wrote a grant for supporting their journey from an AA degree to a BA degree. We had 55 people apply. We accepted 35 for funding, and we have currently funded 11 people. We're waiting for classes to start at CSUB, and we will get more applicants ready for funding in the fall. So we're supporting teachers in the credentialed and in the classified space to become highly qualified teachers. We also are supporting the administrators in our district to build capacity in early learning. This year, we launched a Learning Through Play Academy. We met once a month with administrators and went over different components of the UTK play-based program. And I think that the administrators that came enjoyed and learned a lot about it. Next year, our focus will be on this book by Dr. Julie Nichols called Principals as Early Learning Leaders. And we'll meet monthly with them to talk about the different components, the 9 dimensions of becoming an early learning leader in that UTK space. Lastly, I just want to leave you with a graphic that we created. We work really hard each day to give children high quality experiences and foundational learning across 9 developmental domains. So I just highlighted in this graphic those domains and how the systems that we bring on board in our UTK and TK classrooms support children's social emotional well-being, their foundational learning, observation, interactions, English language development, and our physical and health that we are going to support children with starting this fall. That is, any questions? Any questions? Great job. Awesome job. Thank you.
Next, we'll have the like update. I sent college.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Marietti, cabinet members, and audience members. My name is Cindy Queen. I am the Director of Assessment, Integrated Technology, and Multilingual Learner Programs. Buenas noches. My name is Carla Tabar, and I'm the Coordinator of Multilingual Learner Programs. This evening, we will be presenting an update on our District English Learner Advisory Committee, also known as DLAC. DLAC is a group of parents and guardians of multilingual learners that advises the school district on programs and services to ensure their students' educational needs are met. We would like to start with some highlights for the year. We returned to in-person meetings. We have focused on increasing attendance and participation, and parents and guardians of multilingual learners have completed surveys to evaluate the effectiveness of our advisory committees. And I'm going to share the English Learner Advisory Committee, or DLAC, evaluation results. Families of multilingual learner students in our district completed 3 surveys to evaluate the effectiveness of our school site and district-based committee. The first set of results focuses on programs and services for multilingual learners. How effective are we at providing relevant information about programs and services for multilingual learners? The top 2 programs and services families are aware of are 1, the home language survey, and 2, initial testing procedures for multilingual learners.
Families are least familiar with the curriculum used for English language development, and we show we care by a supportive and inclusive staff, and we can improve by strengthening homeschool relationships and guidance. How effective are we at engaging families? The top 2 reasons families identified as the lack of family participation are 1, meeting times, and 2, language accessibility. The most meaningful ways of engaging family and supporting participation are 1, through the use of effective communication and engagement tools, parent score being one that was mentioned throughout the surveys, and 2, providing a supportive environment. We show we care by providing free workshops and free community events, and we can improve by offering meetings at flexible times. And how effective are we in communicating with families? Families who completed the survey identified parent square as their preferred form of communication, followed by sending a flyer home with the student. And we show we care by our open and respectful communication and effective use of parent square communication. And we can improve by offering information in multiple languages and enhancing language accessibility and support.
Next, we will be sharing our Multilingual Learner Program update. And this slide shows the distribution of English language proficiency assessments for California, also known as LCAP, that we have administered this year. We have administered over 348 initial LPAC assessments and 1,987 summative assessments. If a student's individualized educational program or IEP team has determined eligibility, the student is administered the summative alternate LPAC. We administered 6 initial alternate assessments and 9 summative alternate assessments. This year, 165 students were reclassified and celebrated during our May 23rd reclassification ceremony. Since then, we have started to receive this year's LPAC scores and have reclassified an additional 58 students, which brings a total to 223 reclassified students. In addition, we have 64 additional students who have scored a 4 on this year's LPAC and have met other criteria, either with iReady or CAS, and are pending reclassification.
Now let's take a look at the district enrollment by student English language acquisition status, and this information can be found on DataQuest, which is the California Department of Education's web-based data reporting system. And this information will be used when presenting data in the upcoming slides. So 78.5% of students in our district are English only or English proficient at the time of enrollment. 2% of students are initial fluent English proficient or proficient in English in another language at the time of enrollment. 13.6% of students are English learners or proficient in their home language and not yet proficient in English, and 5.4% of students are reclassified fluent English proficient or proficient in their home language and have acquired English proficiency. And this graph shows the enrollment of English learners across the years. The purple shows the EL enrollment at Lancaster School District during the 2022-2023 school year. 13.6% of students in our district were English learners. And this school year, the numbers are the same. 13.6% of our students are English learners. And while the percentage of English learners has decreased over the past 2 years across LA County and California, the percentage of students in our district who are English learners has remained consistent. And now we will look at the English Learner Progress Indicator, or ELPI. And the ELPI is one of the state indicators that the California Department of Education reports on the California School Dashboard. The ELPI is the only state indicator that reports on only one student group, the English Learner student group. It measures the percentage of English learner students progressing towards English language proficiency. And proficiency in progress is calculated by using the scores from the English language proficiency assessments for California LCAP. To make progress towards English language proficiency, students need to advance 1 level or maintain a level 4. This is the most current information available on the dashboard using the LCAP data from the 2022-2023 school year. 46.2% of EL students made progress towards English language proficiency, which was an increase of 6.9%. 46.3% of English learners progressed at least one LP level during the 2022-2023 school year, compared to 38.5% of students who progressed at least one LP level during the school year prior to that, the 2021-2022 school year, and 30% of EL students progressed on the summative alternate LCAP. And now we're going to take a look at the 2022-2023 summative LCAP test results. 12.37% of students who took the summative LCAP scored proficient or a level 4. This blue bar graph shows the summative LCAP test results of students who are English learners at Lancaster School District compared to California as a whole. 12.37% of English learner students at our district scored proficient or level 4 compared to 16.5% of English learner students in California who scored at a level 4. And the upcoming slides show English language arts and math data. Let's begin by looking at the 2022-2023 CAS results for English language arts. 9.43% of students in the English learner student group met or exceeded standard for ELA compared to 22.36% of English only students who met or exceeded standard. 6.31% of students in the English learner student group met or exceeded standard on math on the SBAC compared to 12.31% of English only students who met or exceeded standard in math. And I will now present mid-year iReady data for the 2023-2024 school year. 7.5% of students in the English learner student group tested early on, mid, or above grade level on iReady reading compared to 24% of English only students. 48.5% of IFEP students tested early on, mid, or above grade level, and 45% of RFEP students tested early on, mid, or above grade level. 4% of students in the English learner student group tested early on, mid, or above grade level on iReady math, compared to 12% of English only students. 24% of IFEP students tested early on, mid, or above grade level, and 26.5% of RFEP students tested early on, mid, or above grade level on the mid-year iReady assessments. And the work continues. Looking ahead to next school year, we're planning on establishing grading guidelines for designated English language development. And we have been collaborating with the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Department to establish guidelines for designated and integrated English language development instruction. In addition, we plan on providing additional professional development focused on around English language development. And also, we will continue to strengthen our partnerships with families by increasing family outreach and engagement. So thank you so much for your time. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much for your report. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
On to our public hearings. Hearing local control and accountability plan will be held at this time concerning the proposed local control and accountability plan ending June 30th, 2025. Will be open at 6:38 p.m.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys very much for we opened the public hearing. This is the time to play, right? So first of all, I want to thank you guys very much for giving us the opportunity to be able to present the local control and accountability plan as we are moving into the 24-25 school year. I promise that what this plan is going to be bringing to you today is going to be some of the ideas that we started talking about at the last board meeting in terms of the status of where we were at and some of the pieces that we're going to be moving forward 24-25 school years. The plan is to actually all the way through 2027. So this is a 3-year plan. All LCAPs kind of fall into that particular range. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be able to provide this to you. So first of all, the purpose of this presentation is really simple. It's one thing. It's just to give you the understanding of what's and an outline of what the LCAP is going to look like moving forward. Simply to identify the plan for the Lancaster School District and that what this work is going to look like for the next few years. And on top of that, really understand the fact that what we provide tonight is a skeleton, or what we provide for this year is a skeleton that we will build upon for the next few years as we see the need to be able to modify. A plan is only as good as it can be moved and changed and be flexible to be able to meet the needs of the kids and the people that we serve at a particular time. And that changes in Lancaster, and we need to recognize that we need to be flexible. So what's the LCAP? In general, this is a work of labor and love of the community. I say that with all the trepidation in the world. This is the plan in general is a plan that's not delved into by something that is just done in a siphon or just by itself. It's done with the community, the staff, the schools that we work with on a very continuous basis, and on top of that with cabinet, executive cabinet, all the way up and down the system. So this is the work that we do of being able to put things together along with the board and understanding what the community is trying to tell us. Simply put, this is the plan that when we talk about the idea of Lancaster being the place where life's journey takes flight, this is the plan that provides that's going to help to provide the links. So the LCAP has a couple of things that need to happen in order to just to give you an operational understanding of how this works. So giving you a bit of background information on the requirements of the LCAP, there are 8 state priorities that must be addressed in any single LCAP. The first one is basic services. I like to call this teachers, tissues, and toiletries, because that's basically what this is. It's like, if this is the base stuff that we need to have school run. It's our buildings, it's the things that we have, the textbooks, those pieces that we have for our kids to make sure that things are happening. It's our base pieces. It's the stuff that makes the schools do basic work that we need to get done. The second piece is called the implementation of state standards. This is the idea that the core function of any school is to teach kids. And when we talk about teaching kids, it's not just the academic side of the house, it's also the social emotional side of the house, it's also the behavioral side of the house, and everything in between. So in this particular space, we talk about basically history, social science, math, science. When I talk science, I mean next generation science standards to some of those people who don't have an understanding of what the curriculums look like, but then on top of that, the language arts, and it's the way we do the work. The next piece starts talking about course access. When we start talking about course access, we have to really realize that when we're talking about educating our children in Lancaster, that when we talk about educating our kids in Lancaster, it might start in kindergarten. Our goal is to get them to high school and college and beyond, and be able to provide that opportunity here at the kindergarten rate, as young as what close to Dr. Fountain was talking about. I mean, when we talk about that UTPK space, that's the space that we're really starting to get kids to start to flourish and thrive and do those good things. The next piece is student engagement. This delves deeply into the idea of how we get kids on campus. That to us, if we can't, our theory of action in Lancaster School District is that we have a system. We know that our system is a good system. And if we have that good system that we know we have, then our students are going to benefit from sitting in the seats with our teachers. So the next piece is parent involvement. Parent involvement talks about how do we get our parents involved and into the building, because when we talk about parent engagement, when we talk about student engagement, that means we have to have the families and everybody else engaged as well. Then we have student achievement. This is based upon our student assessment scores, our CASP scores. We'll be giving those to you very soon, probably in the fall. It's going to be a wonderful board presentation where you'll have a deep understanding. Obviously, it'll be overview of where we're coming from, the work that we're doing. And then the last piece is the other student outcomes. This is the pieces that they're talking about, our local indicators and our local measures of success, or local measures of what we know needs to happen in order for us to be able to build our students. So this year we continue to operate our school plans, the LCAP, and we move this space into something that I've lovingly coined MTS-desensitizing our local control and accountability plan. When I say that, what I'm saying is that this is an all-sum plan. We are meeting the needs of our students from every aspect, the goal being all somewhat of a tier 1 type of a piece where all of our students are getting those base services, but you can't have supplemental services. It's an impossible thing to supplement something that doesn't have a base service. So that base service is super important. We have to make sure that that's something that we're really, really working hard on to make it, that tier 1 instruction good. Tier 2 turns into that piece that not all of our students are going to get these pieces, but it's going to be the kids that are going to need those, services. And then on tier 3 services on up, move into those more intensive services, fewer kids are going to get, fewer still than the tier 2 student, those students experiencing tier 2 needs are going to be in that space. It's all based in this particular space around access for our students. So I want to take you back a little bit. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we discussed this, and I want to take you back to this. I want to just have you remember this. This is the old LCAP, or the old local control and accountability plan. Last meeting, I provided you an understanding of what we have been doing and what we've been focused on and where we've been and what we've done to get there. Academics, equitable practices, safe and supportive environments are all goals, including family engagement, universal transitional kindergarten, which was what we were calling it at the time, as well as services to homeless students were the pieces that we had. And I want to point out the fact that this is where what we've been operating on for the past 3 years, and these are the years coming right out of our COVID time frame. In fact, I believe we started this LCAP inside of COVID. So there were some, remnants of that particular time period at this time. But this is where I do some drum rolls or something, please, because I'm excited about this. But remember this is our commitment statement. Now, our LCAP is totally delved into the whole idea that we are committed in Lancaster to providing safe, inclusive learning spaces where the whole child is educated, nurtured, and inspired. I love this. Lancaster School District, where life's journey takes flight. So we're part and parcel of exactly what our community is talking towards moving forward to. And this is what our LCAP is going to read into. So this is what the LCAP looks like in terms of in all of its beauty, I would say. Hard work and painstaking work that our teams have done. That being said, we're moving towards implementation of the new LCAP for 24-27, or through 24 through 27. As we provided earlier, we only have 3 goals in this LCAP. You'll see 5 pieces here, but the 3 core goals are the goals that we focus on for the whole district. The other 2 goals are what we call equity multiplier goals and are only applicable to a specific set of schools. I'll go into that in just a second. But you'll see that each one of those goals, goal 1, 2, and or not even numbering the goals, but goals, the equitable learning practices and positive learning environments focuses mainly on social emotional learning and those particular pieces. That goal on academics obviously focuses on academics, teaching and learning, and the differentiated instruction. Really it's all about continuous improvement, continuous growth. And then that goal that sits at the top, we can't do any of this stuff without safe and supportive environments, and that's super important. So subsequently, we have also offered up 2 more goals that are applicable only to what are now called equity multiplier schools. I'm sure Ms. Alatorre will be bringing some information about that up in just a little bit, but these dollars we are under the equity multiplier rule, we are given certain amount of dollars that are provided to these schools. So those dollars must be spent at those particular school sites that have been provided and that are been provided by the state. So equity multiplier schools were identified because they have a non-stability rate for student populations above 25%. So that means that we have kids moving in and out of those schools. More than 25% of those students are moving in and out of those schools on a consistent basis. It's pretty high. So generally around 26%. And any one year, we could be in a position where we don't have those dollars for that particular school. Those dollars are then applied based on the number of EL, foster, and low income. These are our unduplicated student groups, our unduplicated students. And from there, the goals and funding attached must go to meet the needs of the lowest performing student groups in those sites. So I made this real clear just a little bit earlier that basically it's a 1, 2, 3 dance. In this particular place, dollars are applied to school sites. School sites get these dollars. They get them because there's a significant amount of movement within those school sites. That's what triggers it. They get those dollars based upon the number of students that they have who are those low-income foster and EL students, our unduplicated student groups. And then from there, we have to spend those dollars on the students who have been considered the lowest performing. And when we say lowest performing, we're talking about scoring red on the dashboard. So that's a lot of information. But one more piece of information I'm going to give you before I leave for ask for questions for this piece, and then we'll move on, is going to be the schools that we have that have been identified. The schools that we do have identified for this space are Desert View, El Dorado, Joshua, Vista, Paiute, Sierra, Sunnydale, Promise Academy, and the Leadership Academy, and Rise as well. So based upon those are the schools that have access to these two goals. So I'm going to stop for a second and see if there's any questions. A lot of information. It is a lot of information. I get it, and but it's important for us to recognize that. So you might see in these particular goals, you're going to see services in different pieces that that these schools might be receiving that are going to be above and beyond, that are going to be tied to these schools that other schools won't have access to at this particular time. So it's good for you to know that. And the other piece about that is that doesn't just mean it's not just talking about stuff. That also talks about that could be people. That could be services because we can do that with those dollars. So those are things that are going to be coming with that particular piece. So that's the overview of the LCAP. So I'm going to get into a couple of the goals a little deeper. So here I want to dig in a bit so that we are trying to show you a little bit what we're trying to get into in terms of our social emotional learning. So up here I say, what's the point of SEL and equitable learning practices? Here's what we're doing. SEL means social emotional learning. I want to make sure we all understand that, have a common vocabulary there. I'm sure we do. This goal, equitable learning practices and positive learning environments, is all about us providing positive learning environments that are supportive of all of the love that we can give to a kid. Want to show the love and be able to really get kids to be able to love their educational experience. In this particular space, these are the ideas that we're really talking about. I'm only going to land on about two of these real fast. One of them being our MTSS piece. When we talk about equitable learning practices, when we're talking about multi-tiered systems of support, we are providing our schools and our students with what they need, when they need, how they need to be able to be as successful as they can. It's called educational access and equity. That's what we're looking to try to focus on here. So all the aspects of this particular goal revolve around that particular piece, specific to social emotional learning. Also, you'll see PBIS, our positive behaviors, interventions, and support system rolled into that. So with that piece of it, what we're talking about is we're really trying to ensure that our students, that we're being proactive in our work towards behavior with our kids before it gets to a point where they're just where we are being reactive. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be as proactive as possible. So we teach behavior because that is part of the educational experience. You can't expect people to know what they don't know. So we have to work on helping them to understand and work with families as well with that. So that's where we jump into the family engagement focused around building social emotional well-being. One of the things that we really want to do here is we want to focus our family engagement and see where we are spending our money in terms of our family engagement in these areas. Are we really working with our families to help them with social emotional learning? Is that something that we're doing? And that's a big piece. And I think tonight, we saw all the family ambassadors being recognized for these things. We know that that's happening. It's not just about the ideas of the feel-good family engagement, although that matters. It's also about teaching families how to engage with their child, being able to work with families. That other piece is the dual capacity training and work, and all of this is us working with our staff as well as our families to be able to understand that there's a good, solid engagement, back and forth conversation. And it's not just a one-sided thing where I'm telling you what you're doing or how to do certain things, but we're working with you. The next slide gives you a little bit of a visual of all of those other pieces to this. Mainly, I just want to point out the counseling services. In this role, we have counseling services as well. So stop here real quick. Are there any questions about that particular role? All right. The next goal talks about the core of academics. We wouldn't be an educational institution if we didn't focus on academics. It's what we do. In this space, we are about focusing on continuous improvement, meeting students where they are at and taking them to the next step. So it's meeting them here and taking them here. Wherever they are here, it's taking them to here. That's what the point is. And sometimes the expectation is always 1 year's worth of growth from our system. Sometimes we need to do a little more work to get that one year. Sometimes our kids need more than 1 year, and we need to focus on trying to get that sometimes. So therefore, we do see aspects of having to do some intervention, some prevention. That's our we have UTK and all these awesome programs in place. And all of this is based around growing kids' minds around state adopted standards. Visual of some of the pieces that we have here. You just heard from our EL program, or our MLL program, Multilingual Learner Program. This is a huge piece. We're focusing on both on two main things here, our two main significant populations here, our ELD population, our multilingual learner our population, as well as our long-term English learners. You're going to hear a lot of that moving forward. The state's making a big deal about us making sure that we're focusing on it. Long-term English learners. You're also going to see differentiated PD for our core and enrichment. So you're going to see a different, when you read the LCAP, you'll see a difference in terms of the funding and the lines that we're talking about there as well. It allows us to be able to support the teaching and learning of active strategies and focusing on engaging strategies for our kids. So under academics, I want to highlight a few key actions here. The MTSS, again, is something that's involved, that is available here. And this provides us the ability to focus on whole child development. Again, this is the academic side of the house. That's what we're talking about here. So where we're supporting students academically, obviously we're meeting those needs. We're doing all of that work, and we're jumping in front of a child. If we know that a child's going to experience a difficulty, we want to know that that child's going to experience a difficulty. We're going to jump in front of that and try to plan for that to be able to smooth out the road so that that child doesn't experience a difficulty. Or we work with that child to get them to a point where they can go over how to be able to experience, how to deal with that difficulty moving forward. It looks like in the classroom, when everyone here is walking classrooms like we do, it'll look like lessons that are designed for the kids in the way that we're anticipating their needs up front. Also, another piece of this is going to be the PLC program, our professional learning communities, and our continuous work with our leadership development, because that's one piece that's one huge significant piece that we know we can't do. The only way we get to the end game is if we've got good quality adults in all aspects of our careers, from our classified staff, teaching staff, all the way up to the principal, and all the way up to the principal and the school. The next action talks about our safe and supportive learning environments. And I'm just going to say it like this: kids can't learn where they don't feel safe, valued, loved, cared for, and appreciated. And that's true. We all know that. That's Maslow's first order hierarchy. We need that. So we're focusing on ensuring that we are ramping up efforts to make sure our buildings are beautiful, to make sure that, and I know we all know that we're looking at making sure our buildings are beautiful, and that our kids have good, safe spaces to learn. Some of the items that we have here are those services that we talk about in terms of support personnel. This is where we're enhancing the support pieces. We have a safety, we're looking for safety person to support us in that particular area. Also, alternative educational settings and community schools and partnerships being the big ticket items here to be able to support those areas. Another piece that I wanted to highlight, because I had a conversation with somebody earlier, I think last week, in terms of the technology systems. I want to make sure we're highlighting this. Yes, we're providing technology systems to all our kids. That's nothing different. 21st century technology, every kid needs to know the technology is going to be moving forward. I want to tailor it to the idea that those systems are there to support the safety of kids as well. So we're looking for safe and appropriate use of technology with our systems, which is why we're going to be seeing certain things flowing through over the next couple. And then on top of that, I also want to point out our family ambassadors. They're building parenting partners programs with their school sites. They're the family leadership groups doing those great things to be able to make sure that our families are engaged in doing that work. And then finally, again, those community partnerships, community schools, and all of those pieces. Okay, so now we jump into some of the equity multiplier goals. So this is one of the equity multiplier goals. The first one is called increasing teacher stability. The point of this is to make our schools a good place for our teachers. We want to make sure our teachers are good to work with these spaces, and they're having the time that they want to have. That we're doing good things. We know that what we're trying to focus on here is actually creating those positive climates at the school sites, so we can maintain, so that we're maintaining the teachers and helping the students stay on the campuses, and then on top of that, focusing on those students who are in the red. But we know we need the need the work. A couple of pieces here that we're focusing on: leading for equity. We're going to do some work we're going to be doing with our principals and our assistant principal next year, as well as just enhancing culture and climate on the school sites. That's probably the biggest piece of this, is finding ways to be able to really look at root causes, understanding where our school sites are at in terms of culture and climate, and building that culture and climate to be a place where everybody wants to be. I used to say as a site principal, I want my school to be Disneyland. You're going to hear principal. I feel like in me sitting with principals, I'm hearing that a lot. I'm hearing a lot of principals say, I want to work at Disney. Not they want to work at Disneyland. They want their schools to look like Disneyland. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of that moving. Pieces here: providing support, collaboration, and coaching, making sure that we're focusing on those particular pieces and building them and giving our site leaders the support that they need to be successful, and being able to, especially in our system, because our system is different than a system down the street. Final goal is, I call it taking down academic barriers with equity multiplier schools. So in this particular space, a huge focus is going to sit around our ideas of social emotional learning. So we focus on enhancing the instance and widening the net of our targeted intervention and increasing access to on-site mental health. And all of these sites provide to some degree a need for some type of social emotional learning system center pieces that we're really focusing on in those areas. Some areas here that we're focusing on are going to be enhancing teacher clarity. That's the academic side. We want to make sure we're doing great work there, taking it to the next level, not leaving it at a base level. Targeted intervention to remove barriers to academic success, as well as, and I'm just jumping down to that inclusive practices piece. I think that one of the biggest pieces that we need to focus on, Rosemary always loves it when I come up here and I say all means all, and I mean it. I think that we really need to focus in that specific space. All does mean all in our school practices and delivery, so that every student has to see the class. We don't do that. Our goal is to make sure that our kids are going to be as successful as possible. So only going to have. That said, last piece. So in theory, I would like to tell you that I'm done, drop a mic and walk away from here. We're not. So but I would love to be able to say that the LCAP is ready to go and we're finished. The thing is that I also deal with the community, obviously, and continue to receive feedback from the community. And there will be some small changes possibly. And then I also deal with our friends at the state and federal unit at the Los Angeles County Office of Education, who also who's going to make sure that we have everything in a compliant place from the state and federal level. So that's an important piece. I need to make sure that you are all aware that there might be small shifts and changes, and you will be made aware of any significant shifts and changes that do occur when we hit that June 18th time, which will be bringing the LCAP for adoption to you. So I want to make this evident. This plan is not one that's going to sit on the shelf. It's not a plan that sits on the shelf. When we implement it, when we know that we're implementing this and when we're doing that good work, we know that when we implement this plan with fidelity, that we're going to see the results that we want to see in not just in our schools, but I would even say in our communities. Take it out to a larger piece, because I really feel that the work that we've done with our community schools doesn't just impact Lancaster. This impacts lives. We're changing. I really do feel like our district has changed lives the last couple of years. I would feel like I give this district credit for a whole lot of life-changing work. I appreciate that. I appreciate being a part of it. So with that said, I look forward to your feedback as we move this forward. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. There's actually, there's going to be another version of this slide that's going to be coming up. That's another version on the website that's going to have a thought exchange ready for any feedback to come to me. I'll receive the feedback and I will respond accordingly. So thank you. If there are any questions, I am here for.
For a public hearing on the. Oh, I'm sorry. Those are at 7:02. Oh, you are. Yes. Welcome.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, executive cabinet, and public. I am here to present the 24-25 budget.
Stepping ones. Will be opening this up at 7:04 p.m.
Go ahead. Okay. Good evening. I'm here to present the 24-25 budget hearing for the Lancaster School District. Right. Okay, so our agenda goes from the Lancaster School District's strategic plan and goals all the way to questions and answers. The Lancaster School District's strategic plan and goals go from commitment statements, core values, and goals. Our goals read as academic growth all the way to fiscal stewardship. I would like to go over with you on the cost of living adjustment. I built the budget for the fiscal year 24-25, utilizing the COLA of 1.07, which is based on the May revision to the governor's budget. And I built a multi-year projection utilizing the 2 consecutive years, 25-26 and 26-27 COLA. They're both based on the May revision to the governor's budget, they are projections. The 25-26 COLA is projected to increase by 1.86%, and the 26-27 is projected to increase by 0.15%. Now, I would like to go more in depth into what the cost of living means. So the cost of living and the consumer price index, the CPI, are correlated. The CPI, or the consumer price index, is a measure, is utilized to measure the inflation. And the cost of living, its function is to offset or reduce the effects of inflation. I want to go take you back to the fiscal year that we're right now on, which is 23-24. As we all know, we have a super COLA of 8.22%. And the CPI, the California CPI, is 3.33%. That gives us a positive gap of 4.89%. So in this example, or this actually fiscal year, the COLA is doing its work, which is offsetting or reducing the effects of inflation. Now, I would like to go over with the 24-25. The COLA is 1.07, while the CPI is 3.10. That gives us a negative gap of minus 2.03, which means the COLA cannot do its function on reducing or mitigating the inflation. The 2 consecutive years, they're going up. I mean, the gap now is positive. Those are projections. And well, it gives us hope that it will get better. I don't want you to scare. I don't want to scare you. Our district is fiscally solvent. Thank you to you and to all the administrators and to everything that we have done. But I need to make sure that you understand what this represents for the state, not only for our district. Now I want to go with the good news. The historical district at average daily attendance. I go back to 1819, and if you see from 1819 to 2021, we were going up in attendance. Attendance are the kids that are actually sitting at the school sites, learning. Enrollment has to do, it's different. Attendance is a percentage, and it's normally 87 to 90%. When we went in 1819 to 2021, we were going up all the way from 13,229 to 13,499. So that's 270 improvement. And then in 2021, the pandemic happened. So then we were held harmless, which means we didn't have to report our ADA. We were kept harmless for a couple of years. And so we didn't suffer the declining on ADA, but we were reporting our ADA. And as I took over and as we started together, we built a fiscal stabilization plan. I don't know if you remember, back in 22-23. And on that fiscal stabilization plan, we also built PSA, and administration built a attendance recovery plan, which we didn't wait to see results. We started implementing, and thank you to that, on 23-24, now we're going up again to 172 by 172 ADA, and now on 24-25, we'll keep going up on an average of 56. So we are actually not feeling the reducing on the revenue because of our plans are materializing and because the state is allowing us to use 2 different ADA measurements. And I'm going to go over with you. So the 24-25 ADA calculation. So we have 2 ways. The first one is a 3-year average calculation, which means you take the 3 last year P2s, which are the certified attendance approved by CTE, by the state. And if you do the average, it's 12,677.04 ADA. That's the basic ADA. Or you can use the traditional ADA calculation, which you can use prior year or this year, whichever is higher. So if we use that method, it will be 12,633.98. As you can see, I went with the highest, which is a 3-year average calculation. And so by using that method, we actually save or receive more income by 0.64 million, which is shy of $500,000. Now I'm going to show you how did I build the budget. So 24-25 budget ADA. I went over already the 3 prior year ADA average, right? So it's 12,677.04. Remember from the prior. Let me go to the prior right there. So it's the same. And now we also have get ADA by the non-public schools, which are the private schools. the unduplicated students that attend to the private schools. And we can add actually to our ADA 12.52. So the 24-25 budgeted ADA is 12,689.56. Remember, we use the average. Now we also have the TK ADA, and not to double count because the TK gets a rate of over $3,000 per student per ADA, and we get 15. So we can mingle them. They get paid separate. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the 24-25 revenues. Everything is in millions. Where I budgeted a total revenues of $270.25 million. Out of these revenues, 71.57% it's LCFF, which means it's $193 million, a little over $193 million. Out of that, our LCFF base, which is all is unrestricted, $138.05 million. And the LCFF supplemental in concentration, which is based on unduplicated count, is $55.39 million. Our federal revenues are $15.02 million. Remember last year, we had the one-time dollars, the ESSER dollars, so the federal revenues were like 100 and something, 80 something. We're going back to normal, 15.02. Now the state is a little higher. The state is $45.17 million. And the reason why it's higher is because we're budgeting for 2 years, excuse me, for 2 years of ELOP, Extended Learning Opportunity Program, because we need to liquidate by September 30th, 2024. Okay, so we're budgeting there $22 million. And then we have the community grant, which is for 5 years. We receive this fiscal year, we'll receive the first year. Next year, we will receive the second year, and we have 3 more years. And then the equity multiplier that Dr. Boyce was talking about with you, the $7.1 million. Now, the local revenues are $16.62 million. And why are they so high in their local is because special ed goes through CELPA, so it's considered local. Now, our expenditures. Our total budgeted expenditures are $290.72. And I know what you're thinking. You said, Maria, expenditures 290, income 270. Yes, indeed. But I'm going to walk you through. There's a plan for this. So the expenditures are 290.72. Out of those expenditures, 73% are salaries and benefits. So the certificated salaries are $97.6 million. The classified salaries, 47.83. Employees benefits, 66.05. Those are for both of the buckets of employees. But books and supplies are $31.71 million. Services, $38.15. Capital outlay, $7.65 million. And other algo, $1.73 million. Okay, now I want to go over with the projected changes for STIRS and PERS, because I budgeted the STIRS and PERS increases as well. So I took into account 5 fiscal years, going back to this fiscal year all the way to 27-28. As you can see, STIRS rates are plateau at 19.1, and the PERS rates are going up from 23-24 to 27-28 by shy 3%. I put it on the box, the fiscal year that we are budgeting right now. Now, this is my baby. This is a multi-year projection. This is where I get to show off everything that we do. All right, so the first fiscal year, the 24-25, the revenues are 270.25. Everything is in $1 million. The expenditures are 290.72. Remember, I told you there's a deficit of 20.47. Okay, but we have a beginning fund balance of 150.75. That leaves us with an ending fund balance of 130.28. Out of that ending fund balance, the components are the restricted 79.93. And then you're approving these commitments, which is early literacy support, textbook adoption, procedure contributions, technology replacement, 1 month salaries and benefits, future playground replacement, and school reconditioning. That leaves us with a reserve for economic uncertainties of $18.30 million, which represents 6.29%. Now we go to the middle year, which is 25-26. The revenues are 258.38. Our expenditures are budgeted at 283.30. We still have a deficit spending of 24.92, leaving us with an ending fund balance of 105.36. Please note that the components of the ending fund balance, the restricted, now is 56.41. So 79.93 to 56.41. We are liquidating the restricted funds that need to be liquidated. Okay? All right. And we have the same commitments. Therefore, our reserve for economic uncertainties are 16.62. So our reserve percentage is 5.87%. Now we're going to go to the third year out. Our revenue, 264.5, and our expenditures, 275.14. Our net increase is 10.64, still deficit spending. And so that's leaving us with an ending fund balance of 94.72. Again, let's take a look at the restricted. The restricted went from 79, 56 to 45. So we're going back to normal on the restricted ending fund balances. Okay, spending all the one-time funds. All right. And so the same commitments, the reserve for economic uncertainties is 16.71. Giving us a reserve on the third year out of 6.07%. We are actually meeting the 3% state required and the board desire of 6.07. The board desire is 6%, but we are at 6.07%. All right. The assumptions. The assumptions are maintaining fiscal solvency and monitoring deficit spending. So the district prioritizes and allocates resources effectively to support all goals while maintaining fiscal responsibility and building fiscal sustainability, all the way to staffing analysis, reviewing position controls and staffing levels for management, classified and certificated staffing, including teacher ratios to implement cost reductions and better efficiencies district-wide. What is not included in the multi-year projection? The impact of negotiations and the state budget adoption. Remember, this is just the May revision. The supplemental and concentration requirements. As you can see, the supplemental and concentration income was $55 million out of $193 million. So now they're asking us to provide more services, to achieve more, to track carryover. The district must have evidence that the targeted goals for foster youth, multilingual learners, homeless, and low SES students were clearly identified in the LCAP, which they are. Appropriate funding was allocated, which it is, and the expenditures improved students' learning outcomes, which we are monitoring. Unduplicated percentage for the Lancaster School District is 90.33%. So this is why we have so much funding on the unrestricted. Now, what are the unduplicated? Are multilingual learners, low income, and foster youth. Now, we work, this is a beautiful collaboration. I have Dr. Goins here with all the administrators and the parents and the teachers developing and putting together a beautiful LCAP, and then I'm putting together the budget. And so we meet and we collaborate, and then we assign the dollars to the goals of the LCAP. So as you can see, the goal 1 is academics. I budgeted $169.55 million. Goal 2, equitable learning practices and positive learning environments, $21.88 million. Goal 3, safe and supportive environments, $43.88 million. Goal 4, equity multiplier for enhancement school culture, $18.51 million. And goal 5, equity multiplier for academics achievement, 35.11. And then on the center, you can see our committed. Questions? No. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm here to serve you if anybody has any questions. Okay? Thank you.
Move on to our individual action. Adoption, oh, I'm sorry, I need 719. Resolution 2023-24, 29. Board compensation of these meeting Wayne Wynn for the year of 2024.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Teagan, by Mr. Giles. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Individual actions, adoption of resolution 2023-2024-30. Environmental findings in connection with the new preschool and transitional kindergarten classrooms project at Center Elementary School. Motion by Mr. Giles.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Mann. Concern, discussion. Motion passes 4-0. Adoption of resolution 2023-2024, colon 31, designating certain general funds as committed funds.
Second.
Motion by Mr. TP, second by Mr. Giles. Discussions? Motion passes 4-0. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. All right, let's see. Adoption of resolution 2023-2024. 32, education protection against EPA requirements for the 2024-2025 school year. Motion. Motion by Mrs. Mann, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Giles. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Approval of 2024-2025 fiscal stabilization plan.
So moved.
Motion by Giles, second. Second by Mr. TP. Discussion or concern? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Individual action items, human resources. Approval of principal. Any other motion?
Hillary Smith. Hillary Smith.
City.
Okay, I'll motion that one.
Motion by Mr. Giles, second by Mr. TP.
Absolutely. So Mr. Hillard Smith is here with us tonight. He is the current assistant principal at Joshua Elementary School, but has been in education for 30 years, 20 years as an administrator. His greatest accolades are improving academic success for underrepresented students, providing access to extracurricular activities for underrepresented students, providing safety and reduced violence on campuses, building partnerships between schools and local businesses, and developing a leadership human development program that actually became the model for Los Angeles County. Mr. Smith is proud of 21 years of marriage and blessed to be raising 5 amazing children who are smart, caring, and active contributors to our community and society. He enjoys going to the movies, bike riding, doing martial arts, and other fitness-related activities, but most importantly, all those things has fun with his family. He's here with us tonight. If you'd like to stand up, say a couple things.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now it's good.
Let's have an approval of the assistant clerk.
Dr. Shamika Andre, she's also with us.
Can I get a motion? Motion by Mrs. Mahan,
Second.
Mr. Childs, second.
All right. Dr. Andre started her career in education 11 years ago and taught grades K through 2. She presently works for our neighborhood district, Westside School District, as the vice principal of Lancaster School. She's earned a master's in curriculum and instruction, a master's in educational administration, and a doctorate in educational leadership with an emphasis in literacy. She is most proud of founding the Antelope Valley's Battle of the Books competition for students across school sites and districts to foster a love of literacy and create a reading competition for kids. She enjoys reading, spending time with family and friends, and is passionate about all things literacy. She's here. Do you want to go first, though? I could jump down last time.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. We have approval of networks systems analyst. Geez. So, next we have the approval of deputy superintendent.
Dr. Larry agrees.
I'll motion now.
To Mr. Giles, second Mrs. Mahan.
He's had recent eye surgery. Yes. Quite a nice fellow. No, he's not saying anything.
You don't know me by now.
Anything to discuss? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard.
It's an honor to continue to serve the board and the employees and the families of the Lancaster School District. And I will try to follow in the large shoes of Rebecca Cooksey.
I'll try to wear them.
I just want to put on the record that Rebecca Cooksey's feet are average size.
I was gonna say.
That's okay, you walk very tall. Approval of network systems analyst.
Casey Gruel.
Can I get a motion? Motion by Mr. Teague,
Second.
second by Mr. Giles.
Okay, so Mr. Gruel currently coordinates residential services for a private company and brings a wealth of IT knowledge. He holds a bachelor's and dual master's in information technology and business administration from Western Government University. He loves to restore classic trucks, and his present restoration project is a 1986 Ford F-250 6.9 liter diesel truck. Sounds like a beast. He is here tonight. Say hello.
All in favor?
Aye. Already made it. Casey's in.
Welcome. Provisional internship permit for 2024-2025 school year. Motion by Mr. Teepee. Second by Mrs. Mann. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Approval of variable term waiver for 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Mr. Teason. Discussion?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Addressing the board. Individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker card and present it. And any supporting documents to the superintendent's assistant or other district officials prior to the start of the meeting. Personal information such as a student, parent, guardian's name, address, phone number, date of birth, email address, or other directory information as defined in Education Code 49061 may be excluded from the minutes of the meeting by submitting a written request to the superintendent. The board shall recognize individuals who wish to speak. Individuals wishing to present testimony to the board concerning specific items on the agenda may do so once that item has been seconded and is on the floor for discussion. Time limits of 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes per item shall be allowed. Bylaws 9322. Board members may ask questions for clarification purposes. However, no action may be taken or discussion may take place on an item not on the posted agenda. Brown Act. Okay. Comments from PTA? No PTA. Comments from CSEA? Comments from Tile? Comments from the audience? There are no comments. Consent agenda items, superintendent items 17A through 17I. Motion by Mrs. Mann, second by Mr. Giles. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Consent agenda items, business items 18A through 18K. Motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Giles, second by Mr. TP. Any discussion or concern? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Consent agenda items, education services items 19A through 19F. Motion by Mr. TP. Second. Second by Mr. Giles. All right, favor?
Aye.
Motion's passed 4-0. Legislative and policy discussion? Dennis? Back.
That's a big one.
Page. All right. Consent agenda items, human resource services, items 20A to 20H.
So moved.
Second, motion by Mr. Giles, second by Mrs. Mann. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion's passed 4-0. Consent agenda items, innovation and technology services, items 21A through 21Q. Motion? Motion by Mrs. Mann, second. Second by Mr. Pippin. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion's passed 4-0. Now, legislative and policy discussion?
Second read. Oh, got questions. This is the time. Well, questions. Memorize, come on. All of them are big boss.
completely lost? In that area? And we'll move on to comments from the board and start out.
Thank you for the presentations. Awesome job, great presentation. A lot of work ahead of us. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. You always do a great job. Becca. See you.
I'll be here at the next two board meetings, so I'm not going yet.
Congratulations on the grandbaby. Maria, I'm glad you can see things a lot. Thank you, everybody. Wait for the graduations tomorrow. I'm sorry, come on. The notice did say graduation. All I got.
So, Giles wants.
Okay, I had coffee. Now I'm awake. Now I'm going to be awake all night. So anybody wants me to call them, let me know. Congratulations to our ACES winners. Very cool that you guys are doing all that. And they had matchy shirts, most of them. Did you notice that? They look really good. Rebecca, you will be missed. You know, I don't know who's going to take over the counting for you, but we got to have our numbers. Yeah, we don't have our numbers and nothing works. We can't do the budget, nothing. So we'll find somebody. Kelly, thanks for the presentation. It was good. I love hearing about the little people. I'm about to come by and see you guys because, you know, when you have a bad day, you see some little people, it's all good. So the DLAC update, Jordan, you did a good job. Well, Cindy and Carla, they did a good job too. Then you followed up with all that other information. I've been a board member for a while. That's a lot of information. So thanks, Jordan. I appreciate your work. I know you guys are really working. I guess you got help now. Now you're as like a tag team. But thank you for your. And I am looking forward to promotions tomorrow, at least for a while. I'm gonna see how long I can hang out, but I'm gonna do what I can. Get ready tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks for everybody hanging out. You guys did good. Yeah.
Mr. TP.
Okay, got great board meeting. Really neat to see all the ACES awards, the family ambassadors, the ASB directors, and Alicia Casey, great work with the AAC groups. Just neat to see all the energy and excitement at the different school sites and with the parents. I'm glad we're recognizing parents, you know, getting them involved. So that was really neat. Also was neat to see the presentations, relearning, self-evaluation. I know they've gone through a lot of rigorous testing and everything to get to this point. And so I'm really excited about that. And also with the that update, that was. Thank you, Points, for stating all of that and to us. And I'm excited to see how the new LCAP positions and are. Board meeting, and also I'm excited that the promotions are going to be at the fairgrounds. So I hope that's a lot easier for a lot of the schools to do that. But I know it'll be easier for the parents to do with parking. Excited about the end of the school year. Also, welcome aboard a lot of the new people that we brought in tonight to working with you guys. So thank you so much.
Okay, well, I'm going to just echo everything everybody said, and I just want to acknowledge our new administrators. I know that Mr. Smith's going to do an outstanding job, and Dr. Andre's going to do an outstanding job. Acknowledge our newest leaders in our district, and I encourage everybody to come on out to the fairgrounds tomorrow and Thursday and see our promotion ceremonies. If you can't make it out to the fairgrounds, we are live streaming the promotions. You can check out the links on our website. So celebrate our kids. They did a great job. This has been a long year. And tomorrow we wrap it all up with a great celebration Wednesday and Thursday. So hope to see you all out there. Thank you. No error.
Well, I'd like to say congratulations to all our ACES award winners and especially you, Felicia. You know, I get to see you often. I try to get out to a lot of the different events and she does a spectacular job bringing together her team. And we've got a lot of good things going on from all of our campuses. Thank you very much, Ms. Kelly, for your early learning program presentation. Like everyone else said, you know, you're doing a spectacular job. I like what we're getting done so far, and your work is really important. Thank you. Ms. Cindy and Ms. Carlin, you know, our DLAC presentation, thank you very much. Very informative. I had an opportunity to get to our reclassification ceremony with Dr. Marietti. We were there to hand out the 160 plus medals and certificates, and it was just an amazing event. I'm sure it was our first time, right? So it was spectacular, the turnout and the parents, and you know, we had to break it up into 2 ceremonies. Really great, and the bands were out there, and just everyone had a wonderful time. So excellent job. I look forward to seeing that again next. Welcome to all of our new employees, as well as our ones that jumped up the ladder. Welcome. I look forward to seeing and hoping that you enjoy, you know, your new positions. Welcome, Sandra. So it's nice to get somebody from the district. Dr. Goins, as usual, you have an excellent presentation. Like I tell you all the time, that information is invaluable. I know it's a hard job. It's a lot of information. You try to basically round up and dumb it down for us. So thank you so much. I mean, yeah, it looks great, right? You know, so again, thank you very much. Ms. Maria, as usual, spectacular job. A plus. I'm not even going to say bye to Ms. Rebecca because she's not leaving. It's just a facade. But thank you, Mr. Davis, for all that you do, you know, because bringing in all the new people, filling the positions, along with your group, with the Colemans over there, you guys are doing a spectacular job. And again, like Dr. Marietti said, come out to our ceremonies tomorrow. If you have any students or just any friends or just don't have anything to do, by all means. So that'll be it. Close everything out. Should we adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Mr. TP, second by Mr. Giles. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.